Hello everybody, welcome to this month's chapter video. We're excited to have you. It's a little later this month because we've been very busy and Steve Gibson has wanted to be in this video. So he's back from his travels and his busy schedule, and we're going to discuss real growth in business. So we couldn't have anybody better than Steve to be with us today. So we're excited.
We can have somebody better, but we can't afford anybody better than Steve. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Brother Gibson is, as we say in Mexico.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to take it as a compliment.
Yes.
How exciting it is. You know, you talk about real growth. We're having real growth in the number of chapters.
We are.
We will be at 100 chapters by the end of the year, and that is exciting. Coming off last year, maybe 25 chapters. So that is real growth.
We are pushing really hard, and our model is working to have these videos. We're getting better and better. Chapter presidents, thank you for sending your monthly reports. We look forward to the day when we have 100% reporting, self-reporting, like we do in Africa. So keep up the good work in Harare and Marimba Park. We're appreciative of 100% chapter reporting from you. And Philippines and Mexico, we've got some room to improve, but that's what we're aiming to hit this year. So 100 chapters. Well, let's get into it.
Okay.
So today is going to be a kind of an interview question and answer with Steve Gibson. And then at the end of the video, we're going to have one slide where you, as the chapter leaders and chapter members, can leverage or start discussing these different questions. So let's just begin.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
What's your first question,
First
Jeremy?
question, Steve. What is real growth in business? What does it mean to really grow? Everybody wants to grow their small business into a bigger business and grow, grow, grow. What does it mean to have real growth?
I think real growth is measured by one indicator. But before we go to that one indicator, I think we probably ought to review what business is.
Okay. So let me ask the question. What is business?
You know, and we discuss this over and over in the chapters and also in our training. But we've defined real business is an exchange of product and service between two or more entities in order to make a
profit.
Profit. Right. So let's begin on that basis.
Okay.
That we're in business to make a profit.
So the reason we do business is to make a profit.
That's correct.
Great. So if we're in business to make a profit, then according to you and your experience over the last 50 years as an entrepreneur, what is real growth?
Okay, wonderful question. And even before we go to that question, we have to say, what do some people think real growth is?
Okay.
I remember the day that I spoke with a gentleman whose name I will not give, and he said, you know, it's my goal, Steve, and at this time he had 20 employees. He said, it's my goal to have 500 employees. That was his goal. That's what he zeroed in on. That's what he looked at every day, 500 employees, 500 employees. I felt that was silly.
Why?
Because you really don't measure real growth by the number of employees.
Yeah, I think one example of that is today there are huge companies, huge in the sense of profit and the amount of sales, with maybe 10 employees.
That's true.
Or 5 employees.
Yes.
Especially with tech industry. You know, the technology industry has relatively lower amounts of employees, but can scale and have a lot of profit.
Great example. So we can't really measure real growth by the number of employees. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So one is maybe individuals gauge growth on the number of employees, and that's not the best way.
I think that's growth, but I don't think it's real growth.
Okay. So what is real growth?
Well, before we go to that, the answer there, some people think of real growth or growth as the number of locations.
Okay. I've got 5 different locations in a state, so I must be growing.
Yes, and they are growing.
But is it real growth?
You're right. Is it real growth? So if you want to ask that question again, I think we can answer it.
Okay, so we know it's not necessarily the number of employees.
Correct.
We know it's not necessarily the amount of locations.
Correct.
So what is real growth?
I think real growth simply said, is the amount of profit you make.
Okay.
After, remember, we measure profit after we take all the income, all the inflow, take all the outflow, the expenses, and what is left is profit. So I would say real growth is profit, the percentage of the money that comes to the bottom line, or dollars. We measure it in dollars, or we can measure it in percentages.
So when you were in business, tell us a little bit about your growth. I know you had several locations in different areas. How did you measure your real growth?
You know, the real growth was actually, the way we measured real growth is we had an individual income statement for each location.
Okay.
So we have 8 offices in 6 states. Let's just forget the 6 states. We had 8 offices. Each office had an individual income statement, and that showed us the gross revenues at the top and the percentage as well as the dollars at the bottom. And then every month we amalgamated or put together all 8 income statements, and that gave us the total gross revenues, total amount of sales that came in, minus all the expenses, and that gave us what is truly profit for the entire organization.
You know, I think it's important to mention this. I've done a lot of work with your businesses out in the field, and a lot of research of small companies and small organizations, small businesses all over the world. And at BYU, what we have found is a lot of people grow their gross sales, but what's not growing is their net profit.
Yes.
And so they add employees, they add locations, they invest in new technologies or assets, computers, software, whatever, and their gross revenue increases, but their net profit is not increasing.
That's
true. So if I'm understanding correctly, while our gross revenue increases, and as we expand and as we get more employees, it's not real growth if the bottom line doesn't have profit.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
Well, great.
Real growth.
So let me ask you, just have you answer one more question.
Well, I got a couple others.
Okay. So when you look at your income statements, when you were in business, how often did you look at your income statements?
That's a great question. When I first started out, you know, we got an income statement every month. I had a part-time bookkeeper. Part of her responsibility was to give me an income statement. She'd give me an income statement. I'd look at it. Hey, that's great. I'd put it in the drawer and wouldn't look again at it until the next month when she gave me another income statement. I would look at it and put it in the drawer. And that's the way a lot of businesses do, even if they have an income statement. Many of our businesses don't have an income statement.
But we have to.
But we have to.
We keep good records.
We have to keep good records. We have to see that we make a profit every day. We need to work on our business, not in our business. We need to focus on our business. So,
and as we focus on our business, we want to focus on that bottom line.
Absolutely.
When we talk about focus, 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 one of those 3 focuses needs to be the bottom line. Is my bottom line increasing?
And if it isn't,
then you need to make some changes.
Or we don't have
a business, real growth.
We don't have real growth.
That's right.
That's right. So I guess a question you might ask me or I might ask you is, what is the best single tool that we teach our students that they should have to measure real growth?
Well, I think it's what we've been talking about, which is having an income statement.
That's correct.
Because we see the gross revenues, all the costs that go away, and what's at the bottom.
That's correct. So keeping good records is the step to having an income statement.
Yes.
These are all rules of thumb. Everybody hearing this tape has heard these before. It's not the hearing, but it's the doing. We have scriptures that show that, right? So basically then, Jeremy, to sum it up, real growth is increase in profit at the bottom line.
Yeah.
And in order to know what that is, we have to use the one simplest but greatest tool that reveals how we're doing in business, and that's an income statement.
Wonderful.
And we don't have an income statement unless we keep
good records.
All right.
So we want to invite you to look at this slide now up on the top of the screen. It's going to show up. And you'll see that we have 3 questions we want you to consider and to review in your chapter meeting today. Profit is after you've taken all of your gross, deducted all of your costs, and you look at your bottom line. Bottom line is net profit, just to reiterate that.
And in order to do that, you have to keep good records.
We invite you to keep good records. We love you. We pray for your success. We are all the time trying to be better and better as we practice Kaizen here in Provo. We are excited to reach 100 learning centers, chapters this year, and we need your support and we need your leadership to continue helping others achieve self-reliance through small business.
Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Adios.